So I'm super excited to have here today 4 of our older BI scholars who are just killing the game on campus. All 4 of them serve as peer mentors for this current academic year. So I'm really excited to have some of the most 4 of my favorite students in the Brotherhood Initiative. And so I'm just going to have them go around and introduce themselves, their name, their cohort number, their major here at the UW, and their class standing.
Perfect. Yeah. My name is Brian Sanchez. I'm a computer science major, part of cohort 3, and I'm a current 4th-year senior. About to graduate.
It's pretty cool. My name is Elias. I'm a junior, and I'm in cohort 4. I think so. And my major is biochemistry.
Hey, I'm Poe. I'm in cohort 5, and I'm a sophomore, and my major is business administration.
Hi, I'm Aaron Espinosa. I'm in cohort 5. I'm a 2nd year, and I'm an attended business major.
Cool. And Elias, just so you know, you are in cohort 4. Just
Yes, sir.
So this episode of Bro Let's Talk, featuring the Brotherhood Initiative scholars, some of our scholars, is just to help continue to demystify the Brotherhood Initiative as you are seeking more information to learn about this wonderful program at the UW Seattle campus. And so this podcast is really focusing again on life in and around the BI. And so our scholars are here today to share a little bit more about their experience. And so I'm just super excited to hear some of the wonderful things that they're sharing. So anyone can just start answering this question in any order you would like. And so can you just talk a little bit about just overall your experience in the BI freshman and sophomore class? I know Poe and Aaron, you're currently in the sophomore class. And so if you can talk a little about your experience in the freshman class, sophomore class, and just talk about some of your major takeaways from the class.
Yeah, so I would say going into the freshman class when I started UW, it was I didn't really know what to expect. I couldn't find a lot of information about the Brotherhood. So walking into class on the first day, I was really open to anything, and I was really pleasantly surprised. My first day, I made like 4 or 5 pretty good friends who I live with to today. They're my best friends in campus. And I think the main thing about the Brotherhood is those bonds that you make with your brothers and how they give you a lot of opportunity to grow because you're going into a class every week with them. You're getting college credit for this too, but it also gives you a chance to socialize, which can be something that a lot of college students are pretty hard with. It's kind of hard to meet people a lot, especially when you're going to class and you don't always see the same people. People aren't always that chatty, especially depending on your major. So I thought the Brotherhood was a great way to meet people and kind of make bonds through projects and classes that not only go through your freshman year, but also your sophomore year. Do you have anything else to add, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely. It was also like a breather, like between all these different prereqs, especially for business. Like you have Econ 200 and all these other business prereqs that just were really brutal. Weed out classes essentially. So like just having 2 hours every week to just chill and talk about like really important conceptual stuff, like sense of belonging, which a lot of the freshmen talk about in the first year class, about like what it means to be a person of color on this campus, especially since this campus wasn't made for people like us. So just having the opportunity to speak about that and speak about your experience, like where to go, where not to go, was really important to me.
So Brian and Elias, both of you have completely gone through both the freshman and sophomore year course. So share a little bit about your experience, and Elias, if you can also, because you're different from the rest of the guys here, your freshman year was completely online via Zoom. So if you can also just share about like share a little bit about your experience in the BI on Zoom and how that class helped you or enhance your experience here. So yeah, Elias, if you don't mind getting us started off with that question, then I'd love to hear from you, Brian, especially your perspective as a senior getting ready to head out.
Right. So when I came into the BI, the only reason why I even joined the BI was because of the newsletter or the letter that I saw in the mail that you guys sent me when I was a freshman or about to be a freshman. And I actually saw Brian's like face in one of the pictures. I saw him like looking like he was having a good time in one of the activities. So I was like, yo, Brian, because I actually knew him from high school. So I went to high school with Brian. We did cross country and track together, so we had a bond already. So I asked him, what is this like? Is it worth it? Is it cool? And he said, all good things about it. So when I joined, it was obviously on Zoom, so it wasn't really like a full connection that you would want to have, but just like every other class, they were all on Zoom. And I would say the best thing about the BI was just seeing a bunch of people that look like me just every day, especially the instructors. Even to this day, I never had any Black professor, any Hispanic professor, none of that. So seeing that in the BI every week, professional, it was really nice. And obviously getting college credit definitely helps out. You don't have to take 15, 18 credits if you don't want to. You can just, take 12 if you're having a rough time, because I had a rough time just even starting college. So definitely having that 2 credit class was a good way to just have a smooth transition into college.
Yeah, that transition just from Zoom wasn't no joke, huh? Thank you for that shout out too. But yeah, as Elias said, like we know each other from high school. So I transferred into the same high school he was middle of sophomore year. And I know he can attest to like how shy and reserved I was. I was a really shy person growing up during high school. And so to me, like the big importance that the BI was to me was just having like an immediate like sort of family just going into college. My roommate freshman year, Abdul Shaltu, he was also in the BI. And so we just like, we already had that bond immediately. And then through that, we were also able to make other bonds with other brothers in our cohort, which was amazing. Just making that transition from high school to college is so much easier. And especially like being a more shy person, it just made that transition a lot more seamless, a lot less daunting, considering everything that goes on at college, having to navigate classes, just navigate a space of just so many people. The BI was just there for me, like along every step of the way, just to, really solidify my foundations, my learnings, and, how I can be the best person that I can be to be successful, and, eventually graduate with the rest of my cohort. But one of the coolest takeaways that I had from, I forget since it's been a while, I can't remember if it was, probably, the oral history project, the family one.
Yeah, fall quarter freshman year.
Yeah, that was honestly one of my favorite ones I did, just because it made me dive deep into like my family and like a family tree. Growing up, to me, living in a very traditionally Mexican household, I always felt like sort of different or off when I was like growing up, going through elementary school, not seeing people that were like me. So in a sense, growing up, I was kind of ashamed of who I was, to a certain extent. And so just doing that project for me just made me appreciate my roots and where I came from, and just my parents as a whole, just much more deeper. It just made me realize that like there's nothing for me to be ashamed of. I want to immerse myself in my culture and be around people, like-minded people who look like me and who can, propel me forward. So that's some of the biggest takeaways that I got from freshman and sophomore class, for sure.
Cool, that's wonderful. So the next question kind of like follows up to that. And so is there anything in specific, like either assignment or something that we did in the freshman or sophomore year class, or, particularly you and Poe and Aaron, is there anything right now in the class that's just like really speaking to you that you're appreciative of, like this space that we're able to like talk and discuss about? And so, yeah, thanks for calling out the oral history project. It's one of a favorite of everyone's, and so it's also one of, I would say, speaking from the teaching team, the oral history project is also one of my favorite ones as well, is because I get to learn so much more about you and about you all, but then also the opportunity to also see your excitement when sharing your personal family histories and being able to go deeper. And so is there anything that like calls out that you all remember specifically, like an assignment or a discussion that we had that like you really enjoyed and appreciated the BI space for offering?
Yeah, I would say like when we in the freshman year when we talked about toxic masculinity, like I'm not the most masculine person, so like talking about how toxic, like some people are have toxic masculinity was important to me, just because I feel like it's all often ignored, and people brush it off and they're like, it's just boys being boys. And so like it was really important to have that space where for the first time, like an educational like institution was saying that this is bad, instead of relying on parents and other people to tell boys that it's not right to behave this way. So I really appreciate and especially like Candy, such a great enthusiastic person, like making it digestible for everyone, and like not blaming people, but just telling them to be more aware of what they say and how they say it.
For me, also that was awesome, Aaron. That was definitely a very memorable part of our freshman seminar. But for my answer, I would have to agree with Brian and say the oral history project was probably the most memorable part for me. It also gave me a chance, I would say, an excuse to ask my father about his past. I think everybody knows is that like POC dads don't really like telling people about whatever they did growing up. So if I was like, hey dad, I need you to do this because I'm gonna get graded on it, and he kind of agreed to it. And he told me all about like his refugee stuff and how he like fled the Vietnam War, all these crazy things I could have never imagined, especially like living with him for my entire life and being like, I never thought that somebody could do all these things and then make me, and I haven't really done anything like that my whole life. I certainly haven't like hit on a boat or anything trying to escape the country. And it was very mind blowing for me to be able to hear that. And I would say that the BI definitely gave me a chance to, maybe a reason to reach out and learn more about my family history and to be proud about it. And also sharing with the class, of course, that's always awesome.
Cool. Is there anything that you want to hit on with that last topic?
Yeah, well, we had an assignment sophomore year. It was more like a project, and it took a long time to complete that project. It was very on our own, kind of like unstructured. We kind of just figured out what we were gonna do. And our topic was like food insecurity around UW. And one thing that I learned from that was that there was a food pantry at UW. And I was like, man, if I knew about this freshman year, I was eating ramen pretty much like that every night freshman year. So if I knew about that earlier, and I think every freshman needs to understand these types of resources that were on campus that we found out later sophomore year. Like, for example, we didn't even know there was a hospital on campus until we looked into it, and we figured out that there's a Hall Health hospital on campus, and students can actually get like a free visit. Like, I think it's once a quarter, maybe. That's what I heard.
Is that not UW medicine?
No,
Yeah.
it's
really?
different from you.
I actually know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the major takeaways, just learning about the resources on campus. I think every freshman should know about. So
Cool. Man, this is man, I'm just like loving hearing everything you all are sharing. Digging in deeper a little bit about like your individual BI experiences. Can you talk about like what support specifically like you've received from the BI, and how has that kind of like helped shape your time here at the UW? Elias, mind like let's start us off with that?
Yeah. So with the BI, it's very great. Like, you're never going to hear from your advisor ever. You come into college, the first meeting you ever have in college is with your advisor, and that's like their most exciting time ever. But after that, you're never going to hear from them ever again, unless you reach out to them. So the thing I like about the BI is that they actually have a quarterly check-in. So once a quarter, they'll meet with you, like maybe halfway through the quarter, on just individual. You talk about everything that's going on, if you need any help. And I remember Paul, actually, when I was a freshman, he got on a Zoom call with me and helped me build my resume. I didn't even know what a resume looked like, how to make one, what to even put on there. He was like, listen, tell me about all your experiences. Tell me about this. What did you do good in? What do you got? And he put it all on a really, really nice professional document. And that same exact resume is what I sent to get both my work study and my internship, which allowed me to be as productive as I am right now, which is trying to get towards, medical school, which is in about 2 years from now. So shout out to Paul for helping me make that resume. I think the BI has just been an amazing support system, especially Paul just reaching out to us every month, every quarter, and meeting with us one-on-one. I think it's very important to have that type of, especially because he looks exactly like me. And when you go to college, if you're an underrepresented minority, you're not going to see people look like you, especially at the professional levels, like, all your professors are they're gonna look the same. So
I don't look exactly like him. Elias spends more time in the gym than I do. Aaron, do you mind just sharing a little bit about, talk to us a little bit about how the BI has like supported you and like how that's kind of enhanced your time here at the UW.
Yeah, definitely. Elias hit most of the major points, but like from my experience, like I came in as an econ major, but then after talking to Paul and like him telling me that my prereqs pretty much line up with business, I got interested in it. And I've been taking business courses ever since then, and they actually have been really interesting. And then also like having an advisor that you can really depend on for emotional support as well. Like I remember coming into Paul's office one time because I had taken my accounting exam and I felt like crap about it because
The 215 one.
I just felt absolutely like crappy about it. And he's like, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be okay, like just reassuring me that it was all gonna be okay. And then also just having an advisor you can text at like 11 p.m. and be like, yo, I have a question right now and you have to answer it. I did have to tell him to get off TikTok though. I was like, get off TikTok and help me with this. And he did. So yeah, it's definitely just more personal, more centralized, like even with your professors, like I was saying, Candy and the rest of the BI staff, they're very personable and people you can get to know better. Having professors at the UW, they're not the most open sometimes. So just having like Elias was saying, people that look like you and yeah.
Cool. So in the BI, we do a lot. I know we've talked a lot about the in-class sessions and some of the things that we do in class, which is only part of what we do. We host a number of programs and events outside of class to help supplement the program, the cohort building and some of the learning that we do in class. So, Brian, if you could just talk to us a little bit about like what has been your favorite BI program that we've hosted. Like I know you've been here for 4 years, so there's a lot that we've done.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite program, and talk to us a little bit about like why?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I have two that I want to touch on, just because I've experienced like both sides of the coin, being like a freshman and a sophomore, experiencing these events, and also now being a mentor and an older brother, like I've been on the other side, being able to give back. So one program or event that like holds a really, really special place in my heart is actually the retreat, the freshman BI retreat. Oh my God. That event was just like such an amazing time to just get so much more closer with the rest of my cohort, the rest of the staff, and just really learn about each other at a much deeper level. And especially how Aaron was saying with like, toxic masculinity being such a big thing, especially with people of color. There's these portions in this retreat. There was this one specific portion in this retreat on like the mask, what's the mask behind you live, the
mask you live in.
The mask you live in. And it's just breaking down those walls of toxic masculinity was just such a big deal to me, because growing up, like it was very rare that I saw my dad show emotion. So for me, showing emotion was so hard. Especially with people that like, I wasn't as comfortable with just yet, because, I was still getting acclimated to the water, and just because I was so shy. But just breaking down those walls immediately and seeing everyone be so vulnerable, really, really share their truest stories ever, which is such a beautiful thing. And then along with that is just like having fun with everyone, just kicking balls outside, throwing footballs, events and everything, was just so amazing. And it was just cool because when I did this my freshman year, and then as a mentor, I just did this past fall quarter as well. It was just great to see that like come full circle, come around full circle and see it from a different perspective. And then another event, types of event, I really love the panels, freshman and sophomore year, going to these panels, hearing from older brothers, just gives you so much perspective into like, what can be and what can come from college and where you can go and where life can take you. It's just, to me, it was so important to just listen to older guys that have been in my situation, have gone through the steps that I will have gone through, is just like, to me, it was just like everything. Just because I got that real world experience from someone who, you know, was in my shoes once upon a time. And then also, it's just been amazing for me to give back to the BI, being able to sit on these panels as an older brother and as a mentor. It, like, I wouldn't change it for the world, just because the BI gave me so much. The only thing I can do is give them the little that I have back. So those are some of the events that I really have a really special place in my heart.
Cool. That's great. Yeah, I think the year retreat, it was raining in particular, and we did like a hike. That was like, we split up in groups.
It
And
was so muddy. Oh, I lost my phone. I dropped my phone.
I didn't know
I
that.
lost it.
The same question. If you could just talk a little bit about, like, out of, again, we do a lot of programs and events. So if you can just share a little bit, like, what's one of your top ones that come to mind for you?
When I think of programs that the BI has hosted, two come to mind at first. And the first one was it was pretty early in the fall, and Paul sent out this thing saying, if anyone wants to come see the football game, I think it was against ASU.
Yeah.
It was against ASU.
Yeah, it was against ASU.
I signed up, and he gives us a ticket, and I read the price tag. It says $120. And I'm like, holy shit, $120. So I go with all my friends and everything, and it was actually really good tickets. Like, they're right on the sideline and everything. But it was pouring the entire time of the game. So it was kind of miserable. I was just having such a good time with all the guys that went. We were watching the game. I don't remember if we won or lost, but I don't think it really mattered at the end.
We lost that game. It was bad.
I think it was bad. I was like, man, I stood in the rain for so long, but it was really cool to spend so much time with these people, and was pretty early into getting to know them, and that really helped cement some of the bonds that I went on to make later. And I would say the second one I think about is definitely the study hall of last final of fall, my sophomore year fall quarter finals week. I don't know why it's my favorite, but I think Aaron remembers this one.
Yeah.
We were all in the same class, me, him, and one of my mentees, and we had a final at like 8
p.m. Yeah.
8 p.m., which is kind of ridiculous. It was 8 p.m. on like a Saturday.
Yeah.
It was 8 p.m. on a Saturday, so we show up, and they give us some food and everything, and we sit down, and we probably study for like 6 hours, just like really cramming for this test. And I would be freaking a lot more if, like, my brothers were next to me also freaking out. So we all kind of got to like help each other a little bit and help each other with the problems and go over tests together, and kind of just all realize that we're all kind of freaking out about this. And it was a really good moment of like, we're all like struggling a little bit. We're going to struggle together.
Cool. That's yeah, I remember y'all were like
But we sat there
grinding. So
I guess we're gonna have to do this.
Yeah, 225. So this has been great. I've been like really enjoying this time with you all, and hopefully for those who are listening, that you two have been learning a lot about like just like what is the day-to-day look like in the BI, and this is only a snippet. There's so much more that happens in the day-to-day. And so if you all could just quickly go around and just like share just like one piece of information, one reason why our listeners who are incoming freshmen who accepted their UW offer, like, why do they not only need to come to the UW, but why do they need to apply for the BI?
Yeah, like, this is really corny, but like, it's like more than a program. Like, this is honestly family. The amount of people that you meet that, you know, share similar experiences to you, and like the way that it's just so natural, just connecting with all the guys and the BI staff. Like I said, it's nice to have a family away from your family, to be honest.
I mean, it's more, yeah, definitely. It's a very good community. You know, when you come into UW, you don't know anybody. So right away, you already have a community of people that look like you, especially if you're a new freshman. I mean, I was at the orientation for the freshmen in the fall, and man, they had it going. Like 60 people on the first day. That's like your first day of coming to college. You don't even realize that everybody around you is going to be not your race. But when you come into that room and there's 60 other freshmen that are in your exact same position, and a group of staff that's all here for you, Like there's nothing like that. So my experience seeing the freshmen come in like that, it was very exciting to see, because when I came in, obviously it was a smaller class, it was on Zoom, so it was a lot different, and not even just that, just like the older people really care about you. I have a story in particular. I met some guy, and his name is Waleed. He talked about this internship that I was actually really interested in applying to. And he didn't even know me that well. And he wrote me a recommendation. And because of that recommendation, I actually got into the internship. And that was a very competitive internship. So shout out to him. He was an older member. I only talked to him a few times, but he was kind enough to write a very nice recommendation for me. So I think the BI is a very good community of people that, really care about you.
I would say for me, the one main thing I just realized was that no professor, no advisor is really going to care about you as much as the Brotherhood ones do. Like, you walk into class every day and they'll say hi to you. They remember everybody's name. They care about you. They hit you up. They reach out to make sure you're doing okay. I can't really say I've had an experience like that with any other professor or department that's not in the Brotherhood. And I think there's just a level of care that's just outstanding, that shows that the Brotherhood really wants you to succeed. And you should take every opportunity to be able to get that support and have all the resources you need to succeed, because maybe you don't need it, but it would sure make it easier.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys touch on some amazing things. And as you all have heard, the BI has so much depth to it. There's so much that comes out of this. This is only a snippet of it. But one thing that I'd say is just like, on top of what everyone has said, the BI is like your one-stop shop for everything that college entails. I feel like, they hook you up with all the resources that you could ever need, instead of being on your own, trying to find these resources by yourself. A lot of it just gets swept under the rug because there is so much of it. You have other things to worry about. You have academics, you have your social life, you have, meeting people, you have getting to classes. Everything that the UW has to offer can just get swept under the rug so easily because of the plethora and the amount that there is. And just the way the BI organizes everything for you, the weekly newsletters on what's out there, what's to come this next week, the resources of older guys that you have, the staff who are trying to help you 24/7 with any of your needs, whether it be academics, professional, social, whatever. They're your one-stop shop. The BI is your one-stop shop for everything that you could ever need in college. They will hook you up, and they will always be there for you and have your back 100% of the time. That's the biggest thing for me, is that the BI has offered me, is just whenever I'm with the BI, anyone associated with the BI, I know I'm in good hands, and I know I'll be taken care of well.
Well, I want to just appreciate and thank Aaron, Poe, Brian, and Elias for their time today. Hopefully you all learned more information about the Brotherhood Initiative that'll help make your decision about not only coming to the UW, but then also applying for the BI. So just a reminder, the application deadline for this year is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. So if you're on the fence about joining the BI, have some more questions, guess what? We have another episode coming up, and the name of that podcast is You Got Questions, We Got Answers. So we look forward to sharing some more time with you all. Again, let's clap it up. Let's thank and appreciate all of our current peer mentors, and I was telling the folks on the podcast to clap it up. But no, hopefully you've learned some more about the day-to-day and life in the BI, and we definitely look forward to seeing your application on May 4th and welcome you into the Brotherhood Initiative this year.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Let's get it.